Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Fans in Motion podcast, the only podcast that I say you didn't know you needed. I say to my three friends staring back at me, I can't believe I survived till Friday. I grab my coat and make a run for where I hide and dream and lie all afternoon. Say hello, Josh.
You know, if we would have gotten one more person to join us, that would have kicked Brent off of the video screen.
Hey, why me?
Because
Brentry,
you're the
say
last
hello.
one on there. I'm trying to get someone right now.
You know,
Say hello, Brent.
while we're not listening to Josh, we're sitting here looking at the very powerful and attractive Mike Brunn from the Rock Experience. Mike Brunn is going to take my place, evidently here.
It's the Mike Brunn experience. He says it wrong.
Yeah,
That's right. I say it wrong. Well, and I love that introduction. What a great introduction of quote and color of your smile.
Yeah.
Great job.
I do that in honor of our guest here with us. We usually only have the three of us here, sometimes only the two of us, but today we have a guest who's sitting with us who is a diehard Night Ranger fan. And
that was Andy trolling me a little bit, and people are going to see behind the scenes because we've already recorded our little interviews with Mike talking about the new Night Ranger stuff, and we're getting ready to record the intro. Well, we had been getting ready for about 40 minutes, and we were all talking Night Ranger. I'm like, Mike, you just want to join us and do the intro? So here he is. So, so Mike's going to join us for our little intro, and then, hang around, and you get more Mike Brunn.
Anyway, that was one of Mike's favorite songs, as well as Brent and I. So I thought,
absolutely.
in honor of our guest, I would throw the lyric of that great song off the album "Big Life" from
It's
Mike.
great
Brunn.
to join you guys, and it's great to have a bunch of people with good taste. I have to say that.
Exactly.
Or at least three of us do.
What's fantastic was Josh's reaction because, the color of your smile comes up in the show. And so we didn't know Andy was going to go into that. And Josh's head just goes down.
I just see the disappointment in Josh.
Yep.
He'll be
Hey,
editing
man,
all this
we
out.
need,
So anyway,
more cocaine, less color.
let's color. So as you can tell, this episode that you're about to watch, that you are watching currently, we interview Mike Brunn, who is a fellow podcaster, a peer, and he hosts the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, and he's also a diehard Night Ranger fan. He's active member of the page. So that's this episode. It's awesome. It's a fun interview. I think we all had a good time talking to Mike. Josh, of course, points out where he's wrong and some of the stuff he talks about. And then Mike finds camaraderie with me and Brent.
I wouldn't even say it's an interview. It's just four guys talking
conversation,
talking Night Ranger, and he's got a good long history, being a Night Ranger fan, and different than ours. It's unique to get that perspective of how he's wrong.
So our previous episode that you watched was, I guess, we talked about and the band played on. We ranked our songs. Mike may or may not have had a ranking that may or may not have been right. Josh, any feedback? Brent, anybody want to talk about what they got back list-wise? Josh, did you have to correct everybody on the page themselves?
There was a few people that kind of have like the same top six, same bottom six. I've seen that.
Yeah.
But then there's people that, have those songs that we rank high, Tomorrow, Cold as December, and they have those ranked low. Makes you wonder how these people will even survive in the real world. But
they got Velcro shoes, man. I'm telling you, they're not tying their shoes.
But that's what's interesting. It's just like, wow, if I was in the band, I wouldn't put this song on a record. Then you see these people ranking it like 2 and 3. I'm like, all right, I guess they've been doing it for 40 years. They know better than us. So it's that's what's cool is to see all that. Later in the episode, when we begin our discussion with Mike Brunn, we will show each of the colored vinyl, the crystal, the yellow, the red, and the blue. As of right now, the autographed CDs from Newberry Comics and Talk Shop Live have not have not arrived yet. We're recording this on Thursday. The Talk Shop Live still has autographed CDs there. So
and they're shipping August 18th is what it says.
All right. So if go to Talk Shop Live and you should be able to order a autographed CD for less than $20. So there you go. A lot of positive reviews.
Mike will be getting one of those.
Yep.
Absolutely.
A lot of and the guy signed them. I was there. Saw
right.
pictures. So the Japanese CDs have the kind of the postcard flat.
Yep.
So there you go. If you get an autographed CD, I bundled all those things in stacks for you guys.
Josh's hands are there.
Yeah, that's the area of expertise that I provide.
Yeah, we should have gotten one of those little cards. I've been on that Ward's record site trying to order the CD, and they will not add shipping. And I'm like, do I take the chance? And there's one line in Japanese I can't read. It doesn't translate to English. So I'm having a tough time trying to get that card that I saw.
To one of our friends on the page and see if they can help you with
that.
If
you go to, there's a, I don't know if I.
Or Mike, do you know a place to get Japanese orders?
But
no, I do not, unfortunately.
I think
nor do I translate. Sorry about that.
It's an exclusive for this one spot.
If you go to CD Japan, they do have a shipping option that basically what they tell you is some of these CDs come with promotional items. Do you want to pay the extra shipping for this promotional item? You have that choice. So possibly if you go to CD Japan, you might get either that autographed like postcard, a picture of the band, or there is like one of the old promotional flats. You remember, like it basically was an album cover.
Yeah.
And you flipped it over; it was something else. They have looks like that of ATBPO, but I don't know if there's anything on the back. I don't think there is. I just think it's basically it'd be just like having the album cover as as just a picture. But that's also a promotional item they have in Japan. If you go to Deep Discount and order, I was going to get the red vinyl, so I was just messing around, and I went there, and I think I got an email. If you use the promo code DEEP10, you got 10% off your order, and then if you order, I think $50 worth, you got free shipping. So I ordered the red vinyl for like $24. Which was about the standard on Amazon, everywhere else. Mm-hmm. They had the Japanese copy for $29.99. And then with free shipping and 10% off, I basically got those for about, 25, it was less than $50. So I got the Japanese CD for $25, 20, something like that. So, most of the time paying it for it to get it from Japan is an extra $10 or $12. So deep discount. Add something else in there. See if that code still works, Deep10. If not, if you sign up with your email, I'm sure they'll give you 10 or 15% off. It's a good way to get the Japanese CD and still get something else. Where are we at besides that, Andy?
So that's
draw me back in.
Josh, come to the light. Let's go. Let's talk about some Night Ranger news. You got anything new and exciting? Any new tour dates you want to announce or anything? Or they play in your backyard sometime soon?
They announced the show that's in Fargo, North Dakota, the Rock from the Heart. So you have that show. There is something I want to, and again, this is why you want to go to Twitter, because I only think he talked about it on Twitter. I could be wrong. But Joel Hoekstra's got a kind of a new band that I would assume maybe it's kind of like one of these Frontiers things where they put different people together. Yeah. It is Michael Sweet from Stryper, Marco Mendoza, who's been with a lot of people, played with Ted Nugent, Dead Daisies. He's, I think, right now maybe the new bass player in Journey. I haven't seen anything like official, but he was the bass player when Journey played Lollapalooza.
Okay.
And Tommy Aldridge. Drummer for Whitesnake, all those old classic Ozzy
Black
records.
Oak, Arkansas.
And then there is a guy, this is the guy that posted it, Nathan Where and Glorious, I don't know this dude. So I guess maybe he's a bass player or something. I don't know. But
from Inglorious.
Yeah, Marco Mendoza.
Yeah, they're from like Sweden.
So maybe he's another guitar player or something. I don't know. But anyway, so you got kind of a super group there, and he wrote. I just heard the first mix of the album I recorded with, and then he names all those guys. So there's that in the works as well. Night Ranger just still announcing dates here and there. I think from the last time it was just that Rock from the Heart. They're also playing Virginia, Minnesota, which you should never have a city named after a state.
Yeah.
But I don't know when that is off the top of my head. But
yeah.
But there you go.
Saw that.
But yeah, that's pretty much your Night Ranger news, along with the new record. And there's just too many interviews and podcasts. Really, the only one you need to go to is Kelly Kagey's interview with Mike Brunn.
That's right.
Ding. So
that's a drink right there.
You know, and at the time of this
one Night Ranger podcast in the world, which is us.
And at the time of this recording, we have no idea where it's charted yet on Billboard's charts. So
yeah,
you know,
I was going to ask Brent if you had any inklings.
Here is a little cool thing. Again, it's one of these surreal things. I posted it on the Night Ranger page, but what I posted was a screenshot that Jack sent me. And it was Night Ranger at number 3 on the iTunes. And he sent me that and just something like, look at this. You know, I'm like...
Did you just say, you're welcome?
I'm like, yeah. I go, it's, not one.
Yeah.
Take that, buddy.
We tried, man. I just...
Well, here's the thing. So, I mean... Think about it. What was 1 and 2? I think this was on the Rock. So like George Harrison from the Beatles had just released a remastered 50th
Hard
anniversary.
To compete with a Beatle.
But anyways, I mean, yes, it was up there. It was even up there in the top 20 on overall. I just seen today someone in Japan taking photos or screenshots, and in the rock column, Night Ranger is still number 1. Iron Maiden's new record was number 2. And overall, Night Ranger was like number 12, like in all genre of music in Japan.
In Japan, that's
awesome.
So,
I mean, they're selling units. And, I guess another big part news was Carrie Kelly did not. I mean, shit. We're Night Ranger. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. Yeah, it's only the biggest news out there. It's in Guitar World today. I sent to Brad, but it was so. Night Ranger had a show Monday, August 9th or something like that, at Sturgis Buffalo Chip. They were replacing REO Speedwagon on the bill. REO Speedwagon, some of their crew or some of their guys came down with COVID, so they backed out. Night Ranger jumped on board kind of with short notice, maybe 5 days. So Carrie Kelly had just tweaked his knee, had to get minor surgery, had scheduled it for Monday, which they weren't playing any shows, but then they throw in that show in Sturgis, and it ends up he never ended up having the surgery because the doctor got sick, so he had to do it the next day or something. So
the doctor had COVID.
Yeah, so it's nothing big. Carrie's going to be back with him. It was just the only reason why, he missed was because it was a show that wasn't supposed to happen. But Gilby Clarke from Guns N' Roses, which I'm a big Gilby Clarke fan, go pick up Pawn Shop Guitars. His second record, The Hangover, is great. One that came out in 2002, Swag, was great. And he just had a new record this year. I can't think of the title off the top of my head. But that record is good. I mean, it grew on me. Like, I didn't quite get it, like it as much as first. Yeah. But after a while, it's like, all right, I'm digging this. So, big Gilby fan. So then Gilby joining Night Ranger. And I kind of knew about, I forget, James called me. It's like, hey, this is going to be happening. I'm like, oh, shit, I love Gilby. And I'm getting photos, and my buddy's a big Gilby fan. So I'm like, hey, you got to see this for anybody else. So that was the big news, and it did. It's in Guitar World and Blabbermouth and
all the regular usual suspects are posting it.
Well, my buddy's here's a good Gilby story. My buddy is a big Guns N' Roses fan. We both got into Gilby Clarke, and we went and saw him in '94 and everything. And it was like 1997. He was going to be playing the Agora in Cleveland, and I'm telling my buddy, "Come on, let's go. We can go meet him." I just met him 6 months earlier in Akron doing an acoustic show with Ryan Roxy, and you know, I met him, got to talk to him. I was like, "Come on, you get to go to meet him this time." And my buddy had just got a new girlfriend, and he wouldn't go.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm like, "Come on, dude, you know, just go." And he wouldn't go. So I go, and I talked to Gilby. He remembered me, and I'm talking to him like, "Would you do me a favor?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I hand him a picture of my buddy Ed. It's actually a picture from the Night Ranger show in Columbus, Neverland tour. I took it there. He was standing in front of the bus. And I had a piece of paper that said, "Fuck you, Ed, you blew it." In big letters. And it's just Gilby smiling with a picture of Ed. And that sheet of paper says, "Fuck you, Ed, you blew it." And I took it, got an 8x10 made, and gave it to him for Christmas. And, you know, but Gilby...
You are a great friend.
But Gilby was cool enough to do that. But so
see what we deal with, Mike?
That's right. Every week, right?
So
Yes.
There is my Gilby story. So there's your Night Ranger news for the week. What we got next, Andrew?
You got any new stuff we want to show off, talk about?
Brent, you got anything new? I mean, I know we
Besides
got the
an
records,
album?
which we already showed.
Yeah, I
Which
got
we
all the
will
albums.
show.
We got all the So no, we're good. Unless you want to see Rogue One again.
No,
I got.
I do. I made an
Yes.
order.
What do you
That's
got? You
because,
got something, Andy?
I do. Josh had hipped me up to there was a discount for Fans in Motion. So I jumped on the Fans in Motion website. Jesus, I jumped on the Night Ranger website and ordered me a couple things that I've been wanting, and one was the Dawn of Madness ball cap.
Ooh, look at that!
I'm not a big ball cap guy because I have a really odd shaped head, but this is awfully cool. So I got me the hat, and something I also picked up was something I've been wanting since about 1983. They got me the official Night Ranger necklace.
There you go.
And that made me a very happy boy.
Hubba, hubba, hubba.
My better half doesn't know it, but I'll be wearing it tonight when we go out.
Yeah.
Hey, do your best, Josh, and put your hat on.
I can't. I got to take my cans down.
And all you got to do is keep saying, "You're wrong. You're wrong.
F
You're
you.
wrong.
F you.
Yeah, you're
Brent.
wrong. Cocaine,
There you
trousers."
There you go. Look at that.
How about that? Covers
That
up
is odd.
the light from shining off my head there. So I got that. I had ordered a shirt. The shirt did not arrive, so hopefully that'll get remedied soon. And I picked up a couple of albums over the course of this week. I'm sure everybody else has, so don't need to show those. Although I do not have the red. I realized I have not picked up the red. I went looking for it today, and it wasn't where I went, so I will keep looking.
DeepDiscount.com. I heard you get a 10% discount.
Discount, and you can get the Japanese CD. I got something that I have had my eyes on for a long time, but like some stuff, there's, it's like one of those things I'll just wait and get it at a good price. And I've probably been looking at these for 20 years, and I got one for under $40. It might have been under $35, but it's like, you know what? I'm going to get it. This is probably the cheapest I've ever seen it, and you don't see them too often because they are 40-some years old, and they were at a concert, and everybody was drunk, and they were probably eventually used for toilet paper that day.
Sounds like a flyer.
California Jam Tour Book.
Wow.
So,
whoa.
Official program from Cal Jam 2, March 18th, 1978.
And that is like Kiss Crazy Night size.
Yeah, really, it is.
You know? And Hot in the Shade.
Well, another reason why it's expensive is, it's more if you're an Aerosmith collector, Foreigner, Heart. I'm sure there's some Dave Mason yahoos out there. Mahogany Rush, there's probably some hardcores like us. But then you got Ted Nugent. What else we got there?
What's that band?
Santana, Bob Welch, who I love Bob Welch. But Rubicon. which we all know Rubicon, beginnings of Night Ranger. But originally, Rubicon was supposed to go on at 9:30 in the morning. So here is the schedule.
Ooh.
There's the schedule, but
that's an alarm clock.
But they pushed Rubicon to the very end because they thought, well, if we put this band on that no one really knows, people will slowly start to leave, and it'll be, instead of Aerosmith or Ted Nugent, everybody leaving at once, people will slowly dissipate. But I guess Rubicon people actually stayed. So they went from playing at 9:30 in the morning to actually being the closer that night. But here you go. You got a big map of the venue.
Where was that held at? Is it a speedway?
It was at the speedway.
A field?
But I can't remember what it'll say here somewhere. I'm sure it will. Ontario Motor Speedway in California.
AKA the traffic jam.
But here you go. Look at this.
Christ. Show us that sexy picture of Jack Blades with those glasses on. Look at that.
Oh, wow. That's
wow.
Awesome. Brad. Oh, what, 17 years old?
Did you ever see those pictures, Mike?
Yes, absolutely. I've even seen there's a video of one of the performances at that time.
I did not know that.
It's so weird.
This was
so weird.
I did not know the program was so big and so many photos either. I'd never seen what was actually of Rubicon here, because most of the time when they go to sell it, they're showing Aerosmith and Heart, but they do. Let's see here. Bradley Gillis on the guitar, who is Rubicon's youngest and newest member. Jack Blades, whose bass guitar highlights the Rubicon sound. Ooh. So there you go. A little bit of Rubicon. Rest of it is the other bands, some advertisements. And there you go. But 1978, the official Cal Jam 2 tour book. So,
Mike, you got anything new you want to show off? Come on.
No, I'm still waiting for my CD signed to come in the mail. Right? So I'm waiting for that. So sorry, I don't have anything to sign. But seeing you show that tour book just makes me think of that video, and Jack playing bass, and his bass playing in that show was just so different than what he does in Night Ranger. Phenomenal work, I think. That's a great pickup you have there.
Yeah.
It's one of the things too. You think about Jack Blades as just the guy who's just hammering and
exactly
just going, but like you see that like, oh my God, he actually can play the bass
incredibly well.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that Brad guy plays pretty good too.
I think the funkiest the most funk you'll ever hear in Night Ranger. It's not a song you really think of the funk that he was playing in Rubicon, but when you kind of break it down, maybe would just change it a little bit, you would hear it. Is the beginning of "I Will Follow You." I mean, that has that's a little funk right there.
Yeah, good tune.
And a lot of people I just don't think pick up either that it's Jack playing or what, but that's Jack laying down a little bit of funk, and I Will Follow You. But and another thing too, just as totally random, I had different songwriting credits in my head for Seven Wishes. Like I thought Faces was entirely Kelly Kagi, and it's Jack Blades and Fitz, and then there was another song, Night Machine. I thought that was all Jack Blades, but I think that's Jack Blades and Brad Gillis. I don't know who wrote the words "Carry On Like an Ice Machine," but
thank you.
It's fucking poetry. So there's that. What do we got next there, Andrew?
Well, Brent, we're moving to you, buddy. Are you ready? Do you have any Fans in Motion shout-outs, news?
I have some Fans in Motion shout-outs. We have Damiano Christian. You all know him as the Don't Tell Me You Love Me guitar solo guy.
That was fantastic.
And at the
end
of
hat
it,
flies off.
And he screams at the end. I'm like, that's entertainment. That was fun. Brian Holland posted some great pictures from the Big Life tour.
Oh, yeah.
You really can't see him on the phone here. especially if you're listening to it as a podcast.
Those are
You're not watching the video cast, but this is what you're missing. One of my favorite posts of the week, and I'm really gonna try not to botch this name, Craig Sirkirki. He went to the state fair, and got these huge wooden Night Ranger logo signs, and they're spectacular looking.
Is that what they are? They're wood?
They're carved out of wood. I mean, and the thing's got to be 3 feet. So, our state fairs aren't that cool.
No.
I mean, I've been to the Ohio State Fair to see Night Ranger. And that's it. That's what I got for the Fans in Motion news. It was a pretty quick thing tonight because we were talking to our good friend Mike, and I hadn't prepared anything.
Well, I got a couple extra things. Number one, I probably should have mentioned it earlier, but it was the 29th anniversary of the release of Don't Tread.
Ooh, I like that.
So, Mike Brunn.
Where are you going now?
The first Damn Yankees record or Don't Tread? Which one you take?
The first one by a mile for me.
I'm with you, Mike. I agree. That first album was...
It's not even close for me. The first one is
Mr. Please.
Brent Tree? What are you taking?
First one.
You know what, Brent? Even when you want to be right, you just go wrong. The second one
steers right into it.
The second one kicks some ass, man. They turn it on to overdrive.
You're totally right.
Wrong.
It totally does. Like I said, Mr. Please is my favorite song on the album.
Yeah,
that's a great song.
Mr. Please, Firefly, Uprising, Don't Tread.
Yeah, but
Coming
it's got
of
that
Age,
ballad.
Come Again, Pile Driver, Damn Yankees, Runaway.
You're right.
All day.
No,
yeah.
I guess what
day.
I am saying is
smile when you say Damn Yankees.
Is I don't think we're most like Mike just kind of said is like he has the first record here and then Don't Tread here, which a lot of people do. Like to me it was always like this. I always thought they were so close, but I mean I do like the first record, and what's great is I just threw I don't know if you guys can see, but I got a huge stereo system. Like a backup, it's like my third set of parts. So it's a Technique. So the only thing I got really set up really well over here is a cassette player. But I mean, these speakers are just great. And I had the first Damn Yankees cassette in there, and I pushed play the other day, and even just it being that loud, like I could hear guitars underneath, like Runaway, that I had never heard before. Like after 30 years, I'm like, God, that sounds so great. But anyways, 29 years since the release of Don't Tread. And one thing I do remember also was at this time I'm 15 years old, and I'm not going over to like my grandparents' house as much. I'm hanging out with friends, but I was over there that evening, and I remember being glued to the MTV, which I normally wasn't. I knew that they were going to premiere Don't Tread that evening. And it was a live show they did, and
in
stuff.
Colorado.
No. The MTV show was a live show. It wasn't with the one dude that was famous, Carson Daly or whatever. This is before that. And it was like a girl and a guy, because I had it on tape, so I kind of remember a little bit. But I taped the, Don't Tread. And the thing I remember at the end was, join us tomorrow as we debut the new video from Pearl Jam, Jeremy. So Jeremy came out the next day, and I'm sure you didn't see much Damn Yankees after that. So there you go, guys. Here we are, the moment we've been waiting for. Introduce the upcoming episode there, Mike.
So on this episode, I'm going to be joining the Fans in Motion. We're going to talk all about Night Ranger, the new album, some of my back history. I shared on my page probably about 10 days ago on my Rock Experience page some great Night Ranger photos from 1984. I think you guys shared them on your page. So if you haven't seen them, check it out. Somebody on your page asked, is that Fitz's wife that took those pictures? Because the woman's name was Patricia Fitzgerald. No, it wasn't. It was just somebody that was at the show. Coincidence, same last name. But it's a blast joining you guys. It's a lot of fun, and thanks for having me on.
We knew. Oh, good. Is it over?
No.
That's it. Goodbye.
Well,
Definitely not now.
We knew it was a good episode with Mike. Mike Brunn doesn't smoke that I know of, but at the end of the episode, he's like,
That's it.
did my Night Ranger show.
There you are. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Mike Brunn joins Fans in Motion. Welcome, everyone, to another exciting podcast with Fans in Motion, and we got a special guest with us. Most of you probably have seen him either on our Fans in Motion page or doing his successful podcast himself. The podcast, as I have just learned, is not the Mike Brunn Experience. That's always what I thought it was in my heart. But it's the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn.
That's it. You got it.
I think you sent me a T-shirt that was incorrect.
That was the misprint shirt.
Yeah.
That's right.
But Mike has a great podcast that's out there, basically interviewing all those hard rock icons that we all grew up with. You've had some really some coups here, some really good guests as of recently, like top echelon guys. Like you had Paul Stanley.
I did, yeah. I did.
That was really one that jumped out. And you've also, done the, you've interviewed almost everybody. A Night Ranger, Eric, Brad. You just had.
I'm missing Jack. That's
well,
the one I'm missing.
Aren't we all?
Have you interviewed Kerry Kelly?
No, so it's funny because I had him on my list last summer and then just got sidetracked with other things. So I got to get Kerry on.
Jack won't come on until he's the last one. So you got to get Kerry. Then Jack will, be the grand finale. But if you guys haven't yet, go check. Mike, where can they find you at, number one?
They can find me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much any place that you could stream a podcast, you could find me. And, thank you for the introduction, Josh. I'm honored to be here with you guys. I love what you guys have done. Like you said, I'm on the page, a longtime Night Ranger fan. And when you guys said, hey, you want to come on the show? I was like, absolutely. This sounds like a great time. Love what you guys do.
Yeah, Mike and I had talked a little in a thread because I'd watched your show and I didn't know how you're such a big Night Ranger fan. And I'm like, dude, we got to make this happen sometime. And I finally coordinated. I think you and Brent got this thing going. But, yeah, it's awesome to see a fellow podcaster who also appreciates our favorite band, Night Ranger.
Absolutely. I think I was on the Facebook page when there was only like 600 or 700 people, right when it first started. And it's great to see it taking off. You now got I think 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, whatever it is. I can't even keep track. So you guys are doing a great job. And again, I'm just honored to be a part of the show with you guys.
Well, it started out people were joining for Night Ranger, and then the other 5,000 were just big fans of us.
Understandable.
So let's break in. Let's just do a little, some talk about the new Night Ranger record, ATBPO. We are talking Wednesday, August 11th, 12th, somewhere in there.
Thursday, August 12th.
Thursday? What did I say? Did I get the right? Did I get the right month at least?
I only know because there's an anniversary tied to this day for me.
And tomorrow's Friday the 13th.
I know this date.
All right, so everybody's going to be watching this on Tuesday, unless I don't get it uploaded. Then you'll be watching it on whatever day I do that. So this is kind of the first week that the Night Ranger record's been out. We're hitting a week tomorrow. At one time, it was up to number 3 on the U.S. rock charts on iTunes. I got some Japanese people sending me screenshots to where it is still number 1 there on the rock downloads and everything, and then and it's even beating out the new Iron Maiden and stuff like that. And then on the overall charts, I think it's like 6 somewhere in there, and then surrounding it is Japanese artists I've never heard of. So the album is doing well. It's getting a lot of good reviews, a lot of good publicity, And hopefully the album sales will be doing good. I would think it's got to surpass the last ones because we have seen everybody posting their vinyl and their CDs. And if you're like me, I've got like 3 copies of each color. I got the Japanese CD coming in. I've bought a digital download. I got this, just regular American version. So we finally got all 4 in the house. We're just going to show them real quick. Look at this.
Yeah, yellow vinyl.
NightRanger.com.
That is the web store exclusive from NightRanger.com. As yesterday, there was no more in stock. I don't know if that's still the same today, but I think they are getting so low where they may pull the rest of those and maybe sign them and sell them at some shows just so they don't have to ship them out. And then you don't have any left and if something gets damaged, you can't replace it. So if you just sell it at a show, throw some signatures on it, you can mark it up a little bit. So if you can get your hands on one of those yellow copies, you better do it now.
Yeah, I'm checking right now as you speak.
Then we have this blue copy.
That looks nice.
Nice.
Now, this is the Newberry Comics. This is the hype sticker. This would be my only complaint about the other 3 copies, especially the yellow and the crystal, which were exclusives, is they did not have exclusive hype stickers. The only way, if you don't open those, the only way you know that they are a colored vinyl is by the small little sticker on the back of the barcode. So, Newberry Comics did it right. So you have the hype sticker, and then there is the blue. This is the least pressed one of 300 copies. Then we have the red standard version. This is the one you get from Amazon, Walmart, all that good stuff. And then the final exclusive colored version, which is the crystal. And that is Frontier Records. So there are your 4 colored.
So, Mike, how many did you get? You got your stack of 10 over there?
You know what? I've actually ordered the autographed CD that has not arrived yet. Of course, I hate to say this. I've actually, in the last year, I've gotten out of the vinyl collecting. And you guys know I'm a big Kiss fan. The one that did me in, Ace Frehley. He was releasing like 87 variants of every album, and I was buying them all. And I realized I'm going broke buying albums that I don't even have a turntable. I can't listen to.
Right.
Yeah.
So I ordered the autographed CD. Actually, I was looking at this today. I don't know if you guys could see that. It goes right next to now when it comes in my High Road autographed CD as well. So that's more my speed doing those things. So I'm looking for it to come in the mail. Although obviously I've been listening to the album pretty much nonstop since it was released. But I'm waiting for my physical copy to arrive.
Yes, Ace Frehley took Gene Simmons' school of money and marketing and just kicked it into overdrive. I think it really started with maybe Spaceman. Yep. And it was cool. They released it. Then it had an alternate cover. I'm like, that's cool. And then it had another alternate cover. Now, this alternate cover was like a totally different cover. It was just white and him standing there. All right, I can deal with that. And then it went back to the other one, and it's just another
record store day.
And then it was another color. But it was the same studio record, except for that one. There was 2 unique covers I liked. So if you would do that and there'd be 3 different covers, I'm cool. But the one original cover had another 4 variant, different colored vinyls. And after a while, I just said, all right, I'm done there. And so I stopped getting the record store day, that picture disc. That was, to me, just looked like garbage, and I did get the record store day Trouble Walking. But, I limit what I get now from Kiss. I just get the colored vinyl. And then Night Ranger, I mean, this is the first time I ever did it, so I can blow a little money with the Maris. So yes, I get what you're saying with going broke with vinyl if you're collecting.
But I'll say this, Josh. So you were saying that the band might have pulled some off the website to sign some, and instantly my antenna went up. Said, "Ooh, I need one of those. I need one of those."
Yep.
So that's all it takes. Just throw a couple of signatures on it, and I'm in.
Because you can't help it. That's
exactly.
deep in our DNA. Like, well, I want that.
Exactly.
Now the difference. Now I own a turntable, and I listen. You know, I got a turntable. I got two downstairs, one upstairs. So I mean, I listen to them. I mean, I will connect my Bluetooth, and you know, I mean, this one here is where I usually listen to all my cassettes and stuff. So I guess I can justify it a little bit, you know, if I own a turntable. But I do open all my stuff, and I very rarely will buy it. Can keep it sealed. I did with these Night Ranger ones. Number one, they weren't that expensive. It's not like a Kiss record costing you,
right.
You know. But
Kiss killers.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Well, the yellow copy is still available on nightranger.com, and I'm the guy that doesn't open any vinyl. So when I put them in my bags, I make a colored copy of what it is and put it down in the corner.
Nice. I like that.
So that way I can enjoy it sealed. Plus, I don't have a turntable either.
And that was my problem. I had a turntable and it broke, and that's where I was like, I'm buying the stacks of vinyl, and they're just sitting there. And I still have all my old albums from the 80s, right? So I thought you guys might get a kick out of this. Yeah, look at this. This is my Man in Motion. Look at that with the hype sticker, right? This is mine that I bought in whatever it was, 88, 89, right? So and I when I had my turntable playing, I'm like, yeah, this is what I like too. And going back to the original pressings.
Man, now you got their attention.
And that's
I know I would.
And I've said it on the podcast before. Finding a stock copy of Man in Motion is harder than finding the promo, because they sent out a bunch of promo records, but no one bought the stock copy. And well, one person, and probably, you know, Kelly's mom, but no one bought the stock copy. So if you go and look on eBay, probably 2 out of every 3 copies are promo copies. So and you got the shrink still on it with the hype sticker.
Hype sticker. Love keeping those hype stickers. Yep.
Yeah. Mike, you're a man after my own heart. They used to tease me all the time because all my old VHS tapes, I can pull them out of box, and they still have the shrink on them.
Yep, that's the way to do it.
They look brand new. That's the way I've done everything.
I never put that much thought into it. I opened it, played it, beat the crap out of the packaging. Brent was like, "What are you doing?" Brent and I have been friends forever, and he was like, "You're killing me.
Right.
You're just killing me."
That's great.
Star Wars Rogue One, shrink.
Nice. Very good.
Brent, your nerd is showing, Brent.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
3D Rogue One.
Ooh, well, nice. Here's the thing too is what was it? Someone just sent me a picture. They paid $25 for a sealed 7 Wishes, and they asked me if it was too much, and I got to looking at it, and it was sealed, and it didn't have a hype sticker on it. The only hype sticker they had was like a local record store, $6.99, and then I can't remember what. What else was it? Oh, on the back, it's like, take a picture of the back. They took a picture of the back, had CRC. So it's like, you know, it's like one of two things happened. Is CRC didn't throw that sticker on there. Either they resealed it, slapped that sticker on there, or it's just a sealed CRC, which isn't that uncommon. If you're going to find anyways, what I'm saying is, sealed, if it don't have a hype sticker on it and it's sealed, I don't put much weight into it, because you know, people can reseal that stuff. And so ATBPO, Mike, what'd you think of the new record, my friend?
Yeah, so, you know, first I'll say I love the fact that it's 2021 and we're still getting new music from this band, right? So I just showed you guys my Man in Motion album, right? And I had all the albums going back to 84. If you would have told me in 2021 I'd be getting new music from Night Ranger, I would have said, yeah, right. No. So starting with that, it's great just to have new music. Couple that with the fact that I think the album is really good, really good. You know, I always get nervous when these bands I love are putting out new music. I'm like, how is this going to compare to Midnight Madness or Dawn Patrol or whatever. It can't in my mind. I've lived with those albums for 30, 40 years. But I put this on. I'm like, man, this is good. Front to back, this is really, in my opinion, really, really, really good album.
Solid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's solid.
Yeah. I remember, I'm a little bit younger than you guys. I just remember, so these bands that I grew up with were already kind of older. I just remember getting Metal Edge, and Brad Gillis was 39 years old in like 1992, right? When I was 15. And Paul Stanley was 42. And I just remember, like, what am I going to listen to in 10 years?
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah, like I just, so it's great that, like you said, 2021, and we still have new Night Ranger. Now, last week we ranked our initial impressions of these songs, and we basically counted down 12-1.
Yep.
And we wanted a chance to bust your balls a little bit, and
Absolutely.
we wanted to and have you rank your 12-1, and so Brent and Andy could tell you where you are wrong, and I will just confirm it. So
I
love it.
List up so I could compare.
What's the one track number 12? What is just the one track? Maybe it doesn't do it for you as like the rest.
So I'm going to start with number 12 being the bonus track, Savior, right? And I think part of that for me is, I said I'm waiting for my physical copy. So I've been listening to the streaming version, which does not include the bonus track.
Mm-hmm.
I, of course, have listened to it on YouTube a few times, but it's not part of my regular rotation. And it's a little different, I haven't warmed up to it yet. So for me, that was, I'm going to say, somewhat an easy choice in the number 12 spot.
Well, we'll get back to you, because when I got the record and I heard that, and I've had it for a while, I heard that. I was like, oh, that's different. That doesn't really sound like traditional Night Ranger. And like the big backup, woo-hoo, all that stuff. I'm like, all right. And then I just found myself, whenever I go back to that record, and I was just like, I want to hear that song. I want to hear this song. I was always going to Savior. And then when, I only got time for 3 songs, what I'm going to listen to, Savior, or I'd find myself, everybody looking for a good. So it will grow on you. It's like a tumor.
Right. And I'll say this, I did not watch your guys' list because I didn't want to be influenced. Yeah. All right. I wanted to kind of just stand on my own and say, this is my thoughts. I didn't want to be influenced by you guys. But I'm a little nervous. Like, what if my number 10 song is all of their number 1s? I'm going to be in trouble then.
Yeah, we're going to let you know.
Of course, great. I love it.
Well, if you were truly smart, you would say, I didn't watch last week's episode, but whatever Josh's list is my list because I want it to be right. So
I love it.
So your number 11.
My number 11 is actually the ballad. So The Hardest Road. To me, I love Night Ranger's ballads. This one kind of falls a little flat to me. I'm going to be honest. As much as I love so much about this album, that one just, for all the great ballads they have, this one I was like, I'm a little disappointed with this.
I will say the acoustic version is better.
Yes,
I haven't heard that
I
yet.
agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
It is better.
Yeah, the Japanese version, the bonus track on the Japanese version is the acoustic version of The Hardest Road. And it's, if I had like a top 6 and a bottom 6, it was in my bottom 6.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people had that towards their top. It's always interesting to see everybody else's lists and like where like I had Tomorrow high up on my list. I've seen some people have it at 12, and I'm like, those, those people.
Yeah, that needs a conversation.
I just deleted it. I just deleted and blocked.
Like, let me tell you how you're wrong.
So number 10.
Number 10 for me was Coming For You, which starts the album. And so I'm going to group these 3 songs were my least favorite. They were easy for me to put 10, 11, 12, right? Everything else after that, I'm like, so I kind of group things when I list them. And when the album started, I'm like, I'm not feeling those. I love the chorus. The chorus is great. the verses, Jack singing the 1 and 1, maybe 3. I'm like, no, I'm not feeling this. I'm just not feeling this. And the album started that way, and I'm like, no. I'd heard the singles, but I'm like, no, this album's got to be good. And it went uphill from there, so I was happy about that.
Mike Brunn does not like math in his songs.
I don't like that.
I would agree with that aspect. I don't like math in my songs either. But
well, I don't know if you guys got to watch the Jack Blades interview on Talk Shop Live last night.
Yeah.
But it was good. He did talk a little bit about the writing. I think a big reason why there's no songwriting credits on this record is because everybody was just bringing so much in. Yep. That was a song that him and Carrie worked on.
Actually together at his house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you have Jack and Carrie to blame for that one. Number, what we on, 9?
Well, I want to add, I know why Mike is mathematically not inclined to like it, because I saw his review on Ace Frehley's 1+1, and the lyric is 1 + 1 is 1.
Yes, that's right.
I mean,
I get confused. Is it 1? Is it 3? I don't know now.
I know it's crazy, but it's true.
For Ace. Nice. Ace, I'm going to call that a win. He got it.
Yeah. Here you go, Brent. Bonus points. Who wrote that song? Wrong. Anton Fig.
Anton Fig, yep.
Anton Zip wrote that?
Yeah. It couldn't have took...
He wrote it in...
Couldn't took him that long.
8 days.
So...
That's my J.
Number 9.
All right, so number 9 for me is a song that I think over time is going to go up my list and get, near 3, 4, 5. But right now, number 9 for me, Cold as December, which I have a feeling you guys are going to be like, oh, I knew it. Because I could just sense that this is a song that probably everybody loves. I just
wrong.
No,
you're wrong. There,
I knew it was going to happen.
That's where it starts. Number 9, Mike Brunn is wrong.
That's my number 1.
Root him off the show. Goodbye. Is it really? Wow.
Yeah, it's my number 1.
I probably had it maybe 6, somewhere around there. I was had it lowest, but there's people out there that have had it low. But it's one of those songs that's generally up on the higher threshold there. So,
let me say something too, bro. I just realized as I was telling him he was wrong, I looked at my list and I have it in the same spot.
Do you really? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, Mike, that's a good call, buddy. Yeah, I was wrong. No, what's funny is I've said before when I've posted on the page that my list is evolving. My song that I had at the very last has really bumped up for me, and I'm like, shit. So, Mike, you're not wrong, buddy. That's a good call.
And, but it goes right to the point that I was saying, is that this is the song that I feel like could grow on me with more and more and more listens. To me, it's so well written that I just say, you know what, I could see 6 months from now me saying, hey, this is one of my top 3 songs on the album. But first few listens, there's certainly other songs that grab me more than this one.
Yeah.
Where are we at now? 8?
Number 8. Yeah, number 8. So I put Monkey at number 8. Again, just to me, it's a good, solid, rocking song.
This is where you're wrong. So
okay,
that's official. That's I checked.
So now it's official. No, double check your list. Can you make sure I'm wrong this time?
I have it slightly higher.
Okay. I wish I had my list in front of me.
This is a fun song for me.
It is. Yeah.
It's senseless.
Brent, your number 8 was Can't Afford a Hero, and you had Monkey at 11.
Okay.
I'm just totally against songs about mammals and marsupials. But number 7.
Number 7, Can't Afford a Hero for me. It's another ballad on the album. To me, I know this has like a little bit of a country feel to it. To me, I kind of think a little bit back to the Shore Blades time period. I could see this being on a Shore Blades album. I really like this a lot. I know it's maybe not 100% in the Night Ranger vein, but I think it's a cool song. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. It's a good tune. And is this the one we got a lot of initial comments? It's somebody, like one person posted, like, did the whole band move to Nashville or something?
Right.
Like, wait a minute. Doesn't sound that country, does it?
Well, I think if you go with country, I think 2 of the songs that he's listed hasn't listed yet are going to be higher. So number 6.
And maybe one of the ones you're referencing, Hard to Make It Easy, right? So I love the whole intro with the guitars. And I'm like, this has a classic Night Ranger feel to it. And then all of a sudden it just, in the verses, just makes a total left turn. I'm like, whoa, that's really cool. And Eric's there with the piano keyboards, whatever. And it's got this little swing feel to it. I'm like, I'm digging this. This is really different than what I expected, especially with the start of the song. I really thought it was going to be just that classic Night Ranger song, but I'm like, I like this. This is fun. This is good.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing against at this point in their career them doing what they want. It's just with me, if I want the Eagles, I'll listen to the Eagles, and this was just the one track that didn't do it for me. But like I said, at this point in their career, and there's a lot of people that like it, so
yeah. This one's moved up for me. This was my number 12, and I was like walking my dogs last week, and this song just hit, and I was like, I'm gonna back it up and do it one more time. And I was like, man, the more I listened, I was like, I like this song, and it's moved up now. I don't have a new ranking for it, but I like this song a lot now.
Nice.
Number 5.
Number 5 for me is "Bring It All Home to Me." I think that's just a good single, a good song, a solid song all around, catchy chorus. Everything I love about Night Ranger is in that song. Good song.
Number 4.
Number 4. So number 4, 3, 2, 1 are to me upper echelon Night Ranger songs in my book. Right? They're all excellent songs. I could see this flip flopping. I'm going number 4 with "Tomorrow." Is I just think an excellent song. It's again everything I love about Night Ranger. I love the harmonies. I love the guitar playing. It's got that classic Night Ranger feel. I can't help thinking "Born to Be My Baby" from Bon Jovi with that 2, 3, 4 counting, But
yep, exactly.
Put that to the side. It's a great song to me.
Number 3,
"Breakout." Great rocking song. Absolutely love everything about it. To me, it's a perfect lead single to show that this band is far more than just ballads. Love the song. Love the song.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I think me and Brent both had "Breakout" at number 3, and your number 2.
Number 2 is the one I have a feeling most people would not have in their top 3, but for me, "A Lucky Man," great song. Love it. Love the hook. I've been playing this nonstop. I get in the car to go to the supermarket 5 minutes away. I'm like, I'm going to put on "Lucky Man" or my number 1, one of the two. I just love everything about the song.
That's cool.
My beef with it was, and I don't have the beef anymore, it was a Shaw Blades tune. It wasn't a Night Ranger tune. Okay. But you know what? It's so damn fun.
It is.
I don't care now. I mean, but my initial response, like, and Josh even said I was going to say that. It does. You could totally hear Tommy Shaw wanting to sing with him on that song.
Yep, I can hear it saying. Yep,
it's a great song.
Yep.
And I think your number 1 is correct. What's your number 1?
My number 1 is "Dance." Everything about this song I love. When I got an advance copy before I did my Kelly interview, and when I heard it instantly, like the drum, I was like, "We Will Rock You." Yep. And then I was like, just the guitar came in. It had just a great hook to it. Everything about it, I'm like, this is a perfect song. I mean, this is one I probably played multiple times every day since I got the album. Love it.
Good.
Yeah.
Brent, totally agree.
Brent had "Dance" at number 2, and me and Andy both had it at number 1. Again, showing that Brent
close call
definitely doesn't know what he's talking about.
Oh, well, no, it's like you said, when I did "Cold as December," like I said, I love all the changes that's going on in that song and where it finally starts ending up. And then all of a sudden it takes that turn again. I think it's really cool. It's really structured really well.
You haven't sold it. "Dance" is number 1. So I guess, Mike, not too bad.
Do I get like at least a B or a B minus?
Well, I mean,
I'll give you an A.
All right, I get an A.
I mean, I'm glad you got all the right songs on there. Sometimes
you might become the next fill-in when one of us starts taking the absences. Like, well, just get rid of Andy, slide Mike right in.
There you go, funny.
So Mike, how did you get into the? What made you wake up one day and you're like, you know what, this world is missing, the ability to get on YouTube and not only see my sexy voice or face, but to hear this sexy voice. What made you decide to do a podcast?
It was just what you just said. Everybody had to hear and see my face and voice. No, the reality is, and this is what's funny, is I don't like podcasts all that much. So I don't watch many podcasts. Yeah, I don't watch. I have a friend of mine for 35 years now who's on one of the biggest Kiss podcasts, and I've told him, look, I know you for 35 years. I think I've watched 3 episodes, and that's when you guys have a good guest on that I like. I'm not a podcast guy. But I started doing this from my friend Vin that's on sometimes with me. Him and I were driving to Indy to meet Paul Stanley got to be 7 years ago. We were going back and forth, doing kind of similar to what we were just doing here with ranking the songs on the album. We were ranking Kiss albums. Oh, what do we like this? Do we like that? And we were like, this would be a good podcast. I'm like, yeah, there's 50 of them already. But somewhere along the way in 2019, I said, you know what? I've been talking about maybe wanting to do this. I'm going to try. And it was actually, of all people, Vinnie Vincent. I had done 5 or 6 episodes, and Vinnie Vincent reached out to me and said, hey, I'm going to be doing, a couple of things here. I'm going to be doing a private event. Would you like to interview me? I've met you a few times. You're a really nice guy. And I'm like, yeah, of course. I'm going to say yes to that. And little by little, it just took off. I started reaching out to different people, and I've been doing it now for a little over 2 years. And like you guys said, I mean, I'm very fortunate. I had Eric on last year. I had Brad Gillis on. I had Joel Holster on. I've had Paul Stanley, Dee Snider, Stephen Piercy. I mean, you name it. I've really had just a lot of hard work to get these people on. I always am going through their management 99.5% of the time. But it's just now something that I've actually really started to enjoy doing. So
now, do you mind telling how long it took to get that Paul Stanley interview?
Well, then I don't mind. It's actually a very funny story.
Okay.
It actually started in November. I reached out to their management team, right? No connections that I know from cruises or anything else. I did it all through their management team. And I was asking to do an interview with Gene about the New Year's Eve show. And they said, sounds good. Yes. Yeah, well, he's interested. And November became December, became mid-December, became late December. They kept, telling me not this week, not this week. Eventually they said after the concert on New Year's Eve. All right, that's fine with me. After the concert, and he's busy, he's moving, this, that, and the other thing. And then they say to me, would you mind instead interviewing Paul Stanley? Would I mind?
Yeah. Nope, not available.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I grew up a Kiss fan in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Paul was my guy. And they actually email me and say, would you mind interviewing Paul Stanley instead? I said, yeah, sign me up. And then it happened within like 48 hours from the time they asked me till it happened. And it was just like, I'm sitting there and I'm talking with him, and I'm like, I'm interviewing Paul Stanley. I can't believe this. This is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. I've had many of those moments when Josh would let us know who's coming up on the show, because Josh does a lot of our stuff like that. And when your screen comes up, and I'm looking, and again, like Kelly Kagi was on my walls as a kid, and I'm like,
exactly.
Hey, Kelly.
Yep.
It's a surreal feeling. When that happens. So let's talk a little bit like what you mentioned earlier. You mentioned that you've had most of the Night Ranger guys on. Your first one was Eric?
Yeah, so Eric was somebody I just reached out to him privately. It was probably last spring, and to his credit, right away he's like, "Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. Let's do it." And very easy to get connected and set it up with him. And what I loved about that interview with him is that it wasn't through the label. We weren't promoting something. So it was just a chance for him and I to sit down. I know you guys do the interviews you do with Kelly are amazing. I love those interviews. But, usually I'm helping artists promote stuff. Well, this was just Eric and I hanging out, BSing. And he's so nice, so down to earth.
Yeah.
I loved hearing his stories playing on the Kiss cruise because, again, being a big Kiss fan and I was there. He shared with me what it was like once playing Rock and Roll All Night in front of Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. So just like cool things like that normally you don't get when you're promoting an album or things like that. It, to me, was so cool to just have him hang out and talk. And then a few months later, he played on one of my friend's songs on my friend's CD. So, which to me was really cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Because his friend took my Eric Levy logo.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. That's right. Unbeknownst to him. Yeah.
Yeah, he took my Eric Levy logo. I'm like, hey, that's my logo. He goes, well, I'm using it. I'm like, I didn't care. Yeah.
Right.
Eric. Well, I think anybody that's ever, had any interaction with Eric, just knows that he's the best. They don't make any better than him. And Eric has been a friend of the show for a long time. Ding.
It's a drink.
So then who was next? Probably Brad, right?
No, actually before, Night Ranger related, I had Joel Holster on after Eric. And, to me, going back to his days in Night Ranger, I was always a huge Joel fan. Yeah. I remembered seeing him on that metal show being like, holy crap, this guy might be the best guitar player from the last 20, 30 years. I just thought his playing was phenomenal. Yes. And I remember when they were on the Kiss Cruise, 2013, I knew who he was. I was, excited to see him playing with Night Ranger. And one day he's just hanging out on the pool deck, and myself and my kids are together. And I was like, hey, let's walk over. That's Joel Hoekstra from Night Ranger. So I walk over. I say, hey, Joel, do you mind taking a picture? He's like, do you know who I am? I'm like, do I know who you are? Of course I know who you are. You're freaking Joel Hoekstra from Night Ranger. And so to me, it was really cool to get to interview him because, again, I've always been a big fan of his playing just in general. And so that was the second Night Ranger related guest I had. After that was Brad Gilliston.
Yeah.
And then now Brad was he kind of promoting his solo record when you talked to him?
So that's exactly how I got connected with him. It was to help start to promote the solo album, which obviously, as we know, still hasn't come out. I was excited for it because, again, Night Ranger fan since '84, and I even loved the band through the '90s. I love the Mojo album, love it. Okay, so he was recording with Gary Moon. I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm going to hear that kind of sound again. I'm looking forward to it. And we chatted about the album. He spoke about recording a video for it.
Yep.
And then nothing.
Yeah.
Well, you could re-release it when it comes out.
That's true. Exactly.
Exclusive interview with Brad Gillis.
That's right. That's
and
great.
I mean, if you're a fan of this new Night Ranger record, you're going to get a taste of a little bit of that Brad Gillis record because Breakout and Savior, which Brad brought the bulk of those songs to the band, that's kind of how that record's going to sound. So it's not a big leap from what you're hearing now with Night Ranger to what you're going to hear with Brad. So, yeah, you're going to get a whole new round of PR with Brad. So you could do, hyping the album part 2. And
that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then just recently for the ATBPO promotion, you got friend of the podcast, Mr. Kelly Kagi.
Right.
How was that?
The only thing I could complain about is, unlike you guys that get hours with him, I had 20 minutes. Right? So I'm like, this is freaking Kelly Kagi. I want 10 hours to talk to this guy. This guy's amazing, But I get it. He's part of the promotions. I totally get it. I'm really busting chops. I don't expect more than 25 minutes. But he was so wonderful, so nice. People say, don't meet your heroes. And I know he's there promoting something. But you can get to me more down to earth, just seemed very appreciative of stuff. And at one point I mentioned to him, like, hey, do you guys ever think about playing some deep tracks when you perform live? And I mentioned the song Carry On. Always been one of my favorite Night Ranger songs. And he's like, wow, we've never played that song before. And you can see like his face light up about that. And it's just like, well, that's pretty freaking cool that 30 plus years later, I could just mention a song and you could see him get all excited about it.
Yeah. And what's cool about that was when he was on talking to us, we were talking about demos left over. And he mentioned Mr. Carry On. And I'm like, what's that? He just wants Carry On from Big Life. I'm like, so now I can sing what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Mr. Carry On, but I don't want to sing.
That's a great song too, man.
Yeah.
I got to ask you guys this because you'll probably know it. So I seem to remember reading in the 80s in one of the magazines that I guess it was Kelly had started writing that song first, and then his father or mother passed away, and then Jack finished the chorus, and that's what the whole Carry On is about. Is that true, or am I getting things mixed up in my mind?
It is the song Carry On. So what's the other track on that record that Kelly
Better Let It Go?
That's what I was thinking of, but it's not it. So it was Carry On. So that's where we got a little bit of some discrepancies and stuff. So what you're referring to is the Mary Turner interview. It may be in print, but on the Mary Turner, interviews that they used to have, and you have it reversed. Jack's father had passed away, and they had the verses, and they were trying to work on a chorus, and Kelly basically says, go to your dad's funeral, I'll finish, writing this, and then he writes the chorus.
I'm the one to carry on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and this interview is from '87, so it's what I call like first source material. It isn't like them 30 years later reminiscing. This is within months of them doing that, so you think their memory's somewhat kind of good. But I think also that Kelly was at the funeral. I think I've heard that before. So how does that mix in? Well, Jack could have left a few days earlier, and then Kelly just goes out for the funeral. That could happen. But then you have this demo tape of Mr. Carry On. So what's on that? Is it Mr. Carry On, and they just didn't like that chorus, and so they rewrite it? Mm-hmm. So that's where all that comes in. So yes, what you heard, that there is a genesis of truth there. It's just a little, something we've kind of, talked about and have dug into a little bit. So,
sure. Love Is Standing Near is the other song you were referring to.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Well, I knew it wasn't Love Is Standing Near. Better Let It Go was the one I was thinking that maybe it could have been, but it was Carry On. The only thing the strangest thing out of that was just a Jersey boy. Were you a Jersey boy? Is that where you grew up at? Where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York. It doesn't matter. It could be Brooklyn or Jersey. Just when you said you were reading,
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Now,
Mike, you can come on every week. That's my spot right there.
That's all right.
So
have at him, Josh. Have at him.
So Yankees, Mets. Which ones is it?
I grew up a Yankee fan.
No wonder.
We're breaking up. We need to cut him loose.
No wonder the Dodgers left.
We're fans of the Big Red Machine, man.
Oh boy, that's I gotta go. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Plus,
we interrupted your time tonight with that baseball game on tonight, then, aren't we?
No,
Field
you know
of
what? I'll be honest. Somewhere in the 2008, 9, 10 period, I started to lose interest in baseball. Just the whole. And yeah, honestly, being a Yankee fan is part of what made me lose interest, because it was just they buy every player, and I'm just like, this is not fun. This is not what sports is supposed to be about. So I probably haven't watched a baseball game in a couple of years. So I'll still talk to you guys, even though you're Red Sox fans.
No.
So then
the Reds, not the Red Sox.
Reds. Oh, then that's cool.
I used to love rooting.
Oh, nice.
I used to love rooting for the Red Sox till they became the New Yankees, and then I was like, screw those guys too.
Yeah.
But
I got this Brooklyn guy behind me here.
There you go, Peter. That's right, Peter Christensbach. There you go.
Yeah, baseball's got some issues, and I also think it's even we always talk about kids, but I think it just shows us as adults, like we grew up watching baseball, and I think everything we have in life now is so instant, and I think like even watching baseball is just like Jesus, it's like we need some rule changes, and they've got some that are out there, but it's when I watch baseball, it's in the background, and I'm doing shit, drinking a beer, cleaning the house, doing stuff like that. Yankees still suck though.
That's fine. I can live with that. I'm used to that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. But look, half my friends were Met fans, so I get it. It's fine. That's not
I will say, in Cincinnati we have our specialty chili, okay? And the Reds were playing the Braves the other night, and their mascot is in front of the Reds fans in Atlanta, holding up a sign that says, "Spaghetti should not go inside a chili." Did you guys see that on the news?
Well, I think it said chili doesn't go on spaghetti.
But, whatever, same thing.
But that's what a lot of teams.
Wrong.
That's a lot of teams have been giving Cincinnati crap. I think it started with the Cubs about Skyline chili, which honestly, Skyline chili is not that freaking great. But
you're out of your mind.
You're dead to me.
Yeah, you're dead.
Mike, so what's going on with you, Mike? Let's talk
and that's the thing about Yankee Stadium. Like I loved going to all the old stadiums, and I went to the the old Yankee Stadium. I'm like, yeah, this thing can come down. I mean, it was just a disaster. But I haven't been to the new one yet.
Go ahead. Did you
the
see
new one's
the
horrible.
what was it? The Big Six there, Metallica and Anthrax and all that. Did you go to that?
I did not know.
Okay, curious.
No,
Yeah.
no, I did not.
Um,
Don't remember why, but I didn't. No.
Now,
let's get back to hot Night Ranger talk.
There you go.
when you were telling people who were visiting New York, did you tell them to stay in the double digits and not the triples?
I'm not following you right now.
Don't go above 99th.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's in the city. Okay, yeah. So yes, you knew not to do that. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean we already knew not to hit Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's right.
But
I've been to Brooklyn. I was there for the Kiss induction into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, yeah. That's a little bit from where I grew up, but yeah. Nice.
Actually,
I was at that also.
Brooklyn's fine. The only thing I never liked about New York City was LaGuardia. I think I flew in there to one time, and I think the airport was like in trailers or something. I had probably one of the worst meals I've ever had, and how I've eaten.
It's been in construction for like 20 years.
Yeah. So, but back to the Night Ranger. So, when did you get hooked on Night Ranger back in the 80s? You said you've been a fan since the 80s.
Yeah. So my fandom started with hearing Sister Christian. I know it's maybe a little cliche. Obviously, it was the big hit on the radio, right? But I heard that. At the time when I grew up in Brooklyn, perfect segue actually, good job guys. I didn't have MTV at the time, but I'd drive out to the Long Island and my mom's friends like every weekend. I was 13, 14 years old and I'd watch MTV. And I'm watching MTV, Sister Christian comes on and I know the song from the radio and I'm watching. And when I was a kid, I would always sit on my rug, listen to an album, studying the liner notes, looking at the pictures. And I was first a Kiss fan and then an Ozzy fan.
Yeah.
Was second when I was like 11, 12 years old. So I'm watching Sister Christian. I'm like, I'll be damned if that guy playing guitar doesn't look like the guy on the back of my Speak of the Devil album. So I didn't know it. I didn't know it at the time. But I'm like, I got to go buy that album. I like this song, and it's the guitar player from Ozzy's band. I got to get this. And I must have bought the album somewhere in the spring of '84. And the reason I could pinpoint that is because I remember at the time buying like Circus Magazine also. And I bought the album, loved the album. I was like, this band is great. Do they have another album? Oh, there's Dawn Patrol. I got to buy that too. And I remember reading in Circus Magazine something along the lines of it said like, well, Sister Christian's been the big hit. The next single clearly has to be When You Close Your Eyes. And I remember thinking to myself, well, no kidding. It's the best friggin' song on the album. Of course it has to be the next single, right? So it had to be somewhere in that '84 springtime period because I know I got it. I knew Sister Christian. But When You Close Your Eyes was not a hit yet.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm jealous of you guys that saw him on the Creatures of the Night tour with Kiss. I will...
Mike, listen, man. Brent, you can jump in, but that was our first Kiss concert. We begged my father. No one would take me and Brent. No one.
And it was 54 miles away from us.
Yeah.
Wow.
No way we're going to go see this.
It wasn't the mileage. It was just that it was them.
It was Kiss.
No, that it was Andy and Brent.
Yeah.
They're like, I want to see Kiss. With you guys? No.
So we convinced my dad. I've told this story in the show before, but we get my dad to do it. Brent has always been the guy that he finds out who the opening band is way before the internet existed. He knew it was going to be Night Ranger. And, of course, we knew Don't Tell Me You Love Me, and we liked the song, but Brent went and got the album, and he told me, he's like, Andy, you got to listen to this. You're going to love this band. And then, Brent, we get there, and they were phenomenal. And I'm so happy that I can say I saw them on their first tour, opening for Kiss. It was like one of the greatest concerts of my life.
I am jealous on so many levels. I'm jealous that you saw the Creatures of the Night tour, the only Kiss tour I've missed in '79 that was in the United States. And I'm so jealous that you saw Night Ranger on their first tour because I hate to say this on this show, I didn't get to see Night Ranger until 2002 in concert.
What is wrong with you?
So I was a young teenager in the 80s, and my parents would have to drive me to shows or whatever.
Oh.
And so it just never happened. And then by 87, 88, 89, I'll be honest, I don't even remember Night Ranger coming to the... I'm sure they did, but... if it was a club show or something like that, there was 0% chance of my parents taking me to something like that.
Where would they play?
Well, that's what I'd say because they weren't big enough really to do like Madison Square Garden.
Exactly.
And they, weren't small. They were still big enough to where they wouldn't be playing, whatever the theaters are there.
Is there a shed out there?
Well, there is. It's right there by Coney. What's that one by Coney that's on the Hudson or whatever it is? I don't know what it.
It might not even be there anymore. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's built in the water.
And, they wouldn't have been playing arenas. Your best chance would have
Radio
probably
City.
Yeah, but I think Night Ranger was bigger than that. I mean, Radio City. I mean, well, how much does Radio City hold? I don't think it's
7,000, 5,000, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, Kiss played the Lick It Up tour
Kiss
there.
I saw Kiss on the Lick It Up tour there. My parents would take me to see Kiss. Period. Because they know I was a huge Kiss fan.
You opened for Kiss on the Lick It Up tour when you saw it.
Except I think it was.
Wow. See, we had Heaven and Vandenberg.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
So you didn't get to see him in the 80s. You didn't. A lot of people's first time seeing him, if they never saw him in the 80s, was in the 90s with Gary Moon. And then you didn't get the early reunion. So what happened in 2002?
So let me back. So the reason I didn't see them in the mid 90s, that's when I was getting married and just having kids. Mm-hmm. And the time, I love the Neverland album. Loved it then, love it now. Love the live album they put from that tour out. I have
quietly one of their best albums.
Absolutely agree. I'll throat
punch somebody that says otherwise. Josh,
I agree.
Coming for you.
Josh doesn't like that.
No, I like Neverland, but I like Seven better.
Ooh, not even close for me.
But
okay.
I'm the same way. I love Neverland hit at the right time.
I probably had Neverland ranked higher than you two mofos because it was in my top 5.
Okay.
Now I'm doing some looking.
Anyways, yes, but Neverland's good. Seven's better. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it was 2002. They were playing in Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, which is about 3 hours from my house, and it was a free show. And my brother, who's also a big Night Ranger fan, and I were like, we've got to go. So it was a free show, so general admission. We got up like at 6 a.m., drove the 3 hours, stood online for like 7-8 hours. I ended up being literally in the front row of the stage. And I was like, finally, after 20 freaking years, I finally get to see Night Ranger. And I'm trying to remember. I know Jeff was in the band still. I'm assuming Fitz was in the band, but maybe not. Maybe I don't recall.
Fitz was in the band, but he was missing some shows at that point, and Michael Lardy was filling in. Now, eventually, Michael Lardy took over full time, but at that time, Fitz was still in there. So you might have saw Fitz, you might have saw Michael Lardy.
Right, yeah, I'd have to go. I took some pictures, a few video clips with my phone, so I'd have to look at it. But I was like, finally.
Those.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I taped the show.
Yeah, you did.
You are the man right there.
There you go.
Mike, real quick, I'll let you continue this. We were at a Chili Fest here in Cincinnati, and Andy was filming the show with a big-ass VHS camera.
Oh.
And Jack Blades walked over to somebody on the side of the stage, and they came after him, and Andy had to take off running.
Oh, that's
so
great.
I kept the camera running, and I can't find the tape currently because I've moved, but all you hear me goes, shit! And I take off running, and the camera starts. You see me chucking along with the camera, and I'm running.
That's awesome.
Security's chasing.
Okay. Back to the Mohegan Sun.
Yeah, so for me, it was exciting to finally get to see Night Ranger. But I was telling you this offline a little bit. So I'd actually, the first time I saw any members of Night Ranger was when I saw Damn Yankees in 1990, I guess it was. And it was an outside place in the city. They were opening up for Bad Company. Now, I remember, again, being a Night Ranger fan all through the 80s, I remembered when I first heard Coming of Age, I was like, holy crap, this is the best song Night Ranger never put on an album. I mean, this sounded like Night Ranger. This was great to me. So I'm finally going to get to see at least one portion of Night Ranger, which is Jack Blades. And I'm so excited. And I'm there. And the place is probably 2/3 empty. I mean, this is before High Enough took off as a hit, right? So most people weren't really fully sure of who Damn Yankees were. But I'm there like 15 rows from the stage, and I'm rocking. I'm having the greatest time. And about 2-3 rows behind, I'm like, 20 years old at the time. 2-3 rows behind me is a guy that's probably my age now, but he was like 50, So then, will you sit down? Please sit down. I'm like, no friggin' way. I'm rocking, And I just keep going at it. And he keeps every song, as soon as the song is over, sit down. I'm getting security. And I'm like, don't care. I'm going to keep rocking. Yeah. Finally, he goes and he gets security. I'm like, uh-oh. Of course, what am I doing? I'm recording the show again. So I sat down and had to whatever the last 4 or 5 songs, sit down for my first Night Ranger related concert. And to this day, I can see the guy's face in my mind. And I'm like, who sits down at a concert, especially at 20 years old? And now at 50, I'm like, oh, good, I can sit for a few minutes. Yeah. That's great. But when I'm 20, I want to stand up and just keep rocking the whole time. But
that's great.
It's still something. My brother and I laugh about it, and you could hear on my tape. You hear the guy in between songs, sit down, sit down. So we get a nice laugh out of that.
And the audio sounds the best after you sat down, didn't it?
Yeah, it probably did. Yeah. Exactly.
Now, special techniques of bootlegging. We had a micro, not a micro cassette, but it was a recorder. And it had 2 microphones, so it would record in stereo. But so I used to go to the concerts, and I'd stick it under my armpit inside my shirt, just enough to have the microphones out. But I had to stand there with my arms crossed the whole time.
Oh wow!
It sucks so much recording. It's so worth it at the end. But
I was gonna say, Mike, it sounds like you were Brent, basically. Like when we'd go to shows, Brent was always trying to find a way to get something bootleg or a camera when they wouldn't let you take cameras in.
So my question is to both of you: when was the last time you listened to those tapes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
probably 4 or 5 years ago in my case.
Mike's like, I can tell you, I got it.
Yeah, I still have the tapes, and I used to love collecting those and just reliving those moments again and again. I used to love it.
Now the response you gave to the guy yelling to sit down would not be the response I thought a guy from who grew up in Brooklyn.
Well, first off, I was like 120 pounds wet at the time, so I've gained a lot of weight since then.
No, those are the worst people to fight, man. You don't know where they're at, like little spider monkeys, man.
But I also was thinking about my recording. I was like, I can't ruin this.
Yeah, can't ruin this. Damn it! Damn you!
I remember
I want to see the show.
I mean, I just always assume someone from Brooklyn has a brick in their pocket, and just sit down.
Got an FU chamber.
That's batteries. They chuck batteries. No,
that's Philadelphia.
Yeah, Mike. When I took my dad to see ZZ Top on the Recycler tour, he was pumped as shit. We're walking out of the car, and I'm taking this tape recorder, and I'm stuffing it down my pants. He's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to record the show." He goes, "You are not going to record this show. You will not get into." I'm like, "Dad, I do it all the time." He's like, "Don't do this shit with me around. I'm too old, He's like, "You're never going to get it in." I'm like, "I'm going to get it in." So we get it in, and we get down to the second row, and I reach back, and he's like,
"Hey, just remind."
But after the end of the show, we listened to it on the way home, and he's like, "Can I get a copy of this?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Oh, that's great.
He who protested too much,
remind me not to handle Brent's bootleg.
His cameras or his recorder.
His bootleg.
That was inside.
It doesn't matter. It's vicinity.
Mike, I'll tell you, you talk about being jealous. We are very lucky in the Midwest. Now, I used to live up with these guys in Cincinnati. I'm in Nashville now, but Night Ranger just lives in the Midwest. Yep. We could see him 3 or 4 times a year, easy. A 3-hour drive. You go from Cincy to Cleveland, you're there in 3 hours. Cincy to Chicago is 5 hours. Cincy to Lexington or Louisville is 2 hours. And if they're just hitting that circuit, you're just buying tickets and going. And I guess we knew it then because we just wanted to see them as much as we could, but you didn't even think about it. It's like we are pretty lucky that Midwest area because they're just always here.
Yeah, and that's one of the things in the early 2000s. I felt like the band was never around my New York, Long Island area. And maybe it was just me. Maybe I was just not in touch with where they were playing. But I just felt like for so many years, now I've seen them probably 10 times in the last 8-9 years. But for the longest time, it was so hard for me to find the bands in a club or on the road someplace that I could travel.
In 10 years, I saw them one time from 97 to 2007. And that in between there it was in Wabash. I saw them in 2004, but I guess we just didn't have any good Rib Fest or Chili Fest around.
Yeah, see, that's always the thing. It's a Rib Fest or something.
We went to Indianapolis like 3 summers in a row.
Well, and they didn't, and nothing. I mean, it's gotten a little bit better, but they were never really good updating their website of where they were playing. Even when the internet was around, it was like, oh, Night Ranger was in Cincinnati last week. Yeah, you thought maybe they put that on their website, so that didn't help
and
the
Mike,
situation.
Brent and I are also lucky enough. You talk about camping out, and we actually camped out for Night Ranger tickets. No one else was. We thought they were, but it was just us. But we actually had second row for the Seven Wishes tour.
Wow.
Dead center.
Right in front of Jack, and he's coming out of that genie lamp. And
Yep.
These two nerds are losing their minds.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Go ahead, Josh. Carry on, Mr. Carry On.
What are we missing, Mike? What are we not talked about here?
I love to share this story also. It kind of ties in my Kiss fandom, right? So Kiss Cruise 3, which was 2013, Night Rangers announced they're going to be one of the support bands. And I'm like, this can't get better for me. Huge Kiss fan, Night Ranger, this is a win-win, right? So, and I had to make sure, obviously, I caught every Night Ranger show on the boat. But I have found this through the years, and I kind of alluded to this also when I interviewed Kelly. A lot of friends I know think of Night Ranger as like the ballad band, right? And because in the 80s, they had a lot of hits with ballads, right? But I always knew better because I had all the albums, and I knew there was a lot of great rocking songs on there. And to me, it was so interesting to see the Kiss fans on the boat who knew Sister Christian and maybe knew When You Close Your Eyes and Sentimental Street, but their fandom kind of ends over there. And they come out and they're doing Touch of Madness. And afterwards, I had a friend of mine say, holy crap, I never knew this band rocked that hard. And I was like, yeah, I'm telling you, I try to tell these people that Night Ranger rocks. They're not just ballads. And it was, to me, so cool to see them, I'm going to say winning over fans on the boat. Because I haven't seen that, especially a band that's around for 30 years. I can't think of anybody else that I've seen win over fans like that maybe had one perception of a band that wasn't necessarily right. And then afterwards, they were like, I come away with a newfound, respect for this band. They really do. I'm like, well, two guitarists. Yeah, it's been like that since 1980. So they've always been like that.
Probably since their height of like 85 to 87. That's when they were, top of their game. This is the last, 10 years, and this has been probably their most popular, ticket-wise, touring-wise, they've ever been. And it's not because of their new albums. Hardcore fans are buying their albums, not the majority of the people at the shows. And the reason why is because of their live shows that they've built up over their whole career. And I think it would even be bigger if they could get on more of these big tours. They got on some about 10 years ago with Journey, and they'll get on there with REO and Styx, but at this point, those people have already seen Night Ranger. If you could have gotten on the Poison and Motley Crue Def Leppard tour, which there was a chance. I think that Whitesnake and Sammy Hagar tour was another good one. If they could have gotten on that, which again, there was talk of them opening for Def Leppard and Kiss in 2014, you would go out and show yourself to people, just like you just said, that have one perception in mind of Night Ranger and would see something else. But the reason why it doesn't happen, in my opinion, which everybody knows my opinion is fact, is again what you said, Mike, is how good they are. Do you want to take this band out, when you're a headliner and playing sheds and arenas, do you want to take this band out and open 30 shows for you? They could blow you off the stage. And most of these bands don't sound as good, or are using a lot of backing tracks. That's what hurts them, I think, more than anything. Is it's different when you're, hey, let's throw Night Ranger on for the next 3 shows. Okay. But when you're going to do a 40, 50-day tour, Sammy can keep up with them. I think that's why Sammy put them on. Whitesnake didn't have any say in that because
Sammy's not afraid.
Exactly. Right. That's what I'm saying. I don't think Whitesnake would, but Whitesnake's got the catalog to overcome that. But I also think that's why they got a kind of a second lead vocalist coming in too, is to beef that sound up. But anyways, I think that's what hurts Night Ranger, and definitely what you said on being on the cruise and winning over fans. It's always great when you're at shows where they're not the headliners, and you see that. You're going on the Kiss cruise this year, so you get to see that again, don't you?
I am, yes. In fact, as you guys probably know, Night Ranger was not originally scheduled to be on Kiss Cruise 10. And I guess it was about, 6-8 weeks ago they announced it. And every year after you go on the cruise, they ask you a questionnaire, who do you like to see on next year's cruise? And I never like to repeat things because to me it's cool to have a new experience. The one repeat I always put, Night Ranger. Night Ranger. Usually the two bands I put every year is Night Ranger and Kicks, if you guys remember that band from the 80s, right? So I love both bands, right? So I'm always Night Ranger, Kicks, Night Ranger, Kicks. And when they said, hey, Night Ranger's going to be back on the cruise again, I was like, yes! Now hopefully we actually have one this year, but yes!
Yeah, really.
Yeah. And two
I
things.
hope I live to talk about it afterwards.
Two things to what you're saying is, Mark Cicchini on another podcast.
Yes.
After that Night Ranger show, he was like, Night Ranger, blah, blah. He goes, I never knew they rocked so hard.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, go buy the records and you'll find out. And to back up what you say about Kicks, I was never a Kicks fan.
Okay.
But I've seen them probably 6 times in concert, opening for, Cinderella, Rat, or whatever, and they are awesome live.
Agreed. Amazing. One of my top 5 live
great
bands.
front man.
Agreed.
And Andy designed the lead singer's new solo album cover.
Oh, that's great.
I forgot about that. That was great.
I don't remember the name, but the lead singer
Steve Whiteman.
His new solo album is basically like a doodle and says something. But
I had that.
But
I thought I had my drawing.
Before that, a couple of weeks before that came out, we were designing our greatest hits 2 for Night Ranger, and just coming up with a concept. And Andy, I don't think had done it, so at the last minute he just drew a stick figure and stuff like that. And a couple of weeks later, horrible. that record comes out from that guy, that Whiteman guy, and I was like, looks like he called Andrew Parker's graphic artist.
He went to my website and picked up something. Hey, Mike, let me ask. I don't know how much longer we got, but let me ask a question I always love to hear from people that are big fans is, and I think I know one of the answers is, what's a favorite album of yours that people probably wouldn't expect, or one that you think's underrated, and also what is a deep cut song or 2 or 3 that you just you love it, you always want people to like it, or it's your go-to, like when I put Night Ranger in, this is the song I gotta hear. If I'm live, you see him live, I want to hear this song live.
So I think the first album that comes to mind, I mentioned Neverland before, but I'll even say Big Life to me is in my mind. I actually wish Big Life came before 7 Wishes. I'm not a huge 7 Wishes. The singles are great, but some of the other songs are average to me. Big Life to me is just song after song after song. It's a great album. I love that album front to back. So that to me is I'm going to call it, even though I think it's gold, but I'll call it underrated. That should have been double, triple platinum in my mind.
And we can't find any live footage from that tour anywhere.
Yeah, did you bootleg that? No, you didn't see that.
No, I didn't see them. But you know what? I have about 5,000 or 6,000 different DVDs and CDs. So I'll go through them. I'll let you know if I have any from that
Mike.
tour. Yeah, I'll give a look and see.
You become a quick friend of the show if you come up with
there
a
you go.
of that.
I can't disagree with you. It was my top 3 albums, I think it was, and Josh always told me I was wrong.
Oh, when you are,
so I guess I'm
will
wrong
tell you.
also.
Yeah. What about songs?
So, I mentioned before Carry On. I love Young Girl in Love from the first album. I think that to me is a great song. Another one that comes to mind instantly is My Elusive Mind, and I love that song. Love that song. Those are some of the ones, the deep cuts. Oh, I Know Tonight. Love that song also. Those are the ones that pop into my mind right away that are go-tos I can listen to at any time and be damn, this song's great.
That's awesome.
Hold on. Give Josh a second. Go ahead, Josh. Say it.
So I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be positive.
Here's where he's going to break it down.
I Know Tonight is a good Night Ranger track. My Elusive Mind, and what was the other one? It was Young Girl.
That's where Josh is.
Young Girl in Love. Yeah, it's at least you didn't say at night she sleeps and Slap Like Being Born. Ooh.
I like Slap Like Being Born, but okay.
Which coincidentally they played those songs on that tour.
Yeah,
they did, yes.
Yeah.
They did.
That whole album is fantastic.
Agreed. I'm with you 100%, Andy. 100%.
Masterpiece.
It's got a good top 6 and the bottom 6. Nope.
No way.
Yep, it's just.
It's a perfect album, in my opinion.
No.
I agree. Are we allowed to tell him he's wrong?
Oh, yeah, we tell him all the time.
So you're wrong, Josh.
Any album that has who, ha-hoo, is not a perfect album. I'm just telling you. It's.
But hey,
and he hates the French horn, apparently.
I'm not a French.
He likes the French. Yeah, he. Of course, Mike likes it because it's on Big Life, you know.
That's right.
I mean, Big Life's not. It's not a bad album. It's just not their best classic record. It's not even their second or third.
Do you like it better than Seven Wishes, or do you like Seven Wishes better? I'm curious.
Nah, that's his initial album, right? That you grew up with.
Yeah, but Seven Wishes was not ranked that high with me either. It was like 7 or somewhere around there. But I like the production on Big Life. I wish the production was on Big Life was on Seven Wishes.
Okay.
I just think Seven Wishes is a little thin in some spots, where that Big Life record is a really full sounding record. I mean, everything in the 80s was a little bit overproduced. I think Rain Comes Crashing Down is just a little bit overdone.
No.
Come on.
No, it's
See, Josh is just throwing darts at us now.
No,
He's like, I know they love this song.
I think you could have.
I'm glad I have two people on my side.
I think you could have pulled that back and made it just a little bit heavier. I mean, I don't know. I'm talking about. It's one of those things you go in and try, and maybe it doesn't work. But I just think there's just a lot of songs on Big Life that just
are great.
Are good songs.
Finish it for you. Thank you. And thanks everybody for watching.
But there's not enough. As Brad would say, there's not enough barn burners, man. And and when your two out of your 3 like heavy metal rock songs are "Color of Your Smile" and "Secret of My Success," that's a recipe for not having success. And
you asked me about deep cuts. I didn't mention "Color of Your Smile" because I don't consider it a deep cut, but that's one of my top 3. That's one of my top 3 Night Ranger songs. It's "Color of Your Smile."
See?
Yeah.
You just pained me big time, Josh. If I would have known that, I might not have joined you.
Well, here, hey, again, Night Ranger's doing this.
Love you, Mike. Love you.
Night Ranger's doing this. What stops this? Big Life.
Mike, go back and watch our ranking of Big Life and see how wrong he is the whole time.
I will. Yes.
All
right.
I will.
You know what Big Life needed was Russ Ballard, but that's just me.
Some more cocaine and less trousers.
Well, we always need more cocaine.
And maybe window panes.
Some window panes and throw in a little sister for good measure. Mike, thank you for joining us. Tell everybody again what YouTube. Just type in Mike Brunn, and you'll get. You have the Facebook page as well.
The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify,
I know you. Well,
iHeartRadio, you name it.
I know you're on Twitter. I've been sharing some of your Twitter stuff. And Instagram or anything like that?
Yes. Yep. I'm on Instagram as well, so you can check me out all those places.
Yeah. And if you want a signed headshot 8x10, just send him a private message.
And a picture.
Yeah.
I'll even sign it. Josh is wrong, not Mike.
For all
from Mike, I love the color of your smile.
That's right.
But
well, I better watch out with that one.
But Mike, thank you for joining us. If you're listening to this, push pause right now and go find all of Mike's pages and click like and follow. Mike, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, guys. This is wonderful. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thanks,
great to have you on finally, Mike.
Yes.
Well, there it is. Interview with Mike Brunn. How much fun was that, guys? I had a blast. Talking to him. It was fun. The episode was a lot of fun. More fun than I thought it was going to be. I didn't know what to expect. We haven't really done pulled a guy in and forced him to rank the song. Well, I guess we kind of did with Eric, but Eric was a member of the band playing the songs in our ears for us, so that's a little different. But Mike Mike's a good dude. I've talked to him multiple times on the through the page, and I know Brent probably talked to him. So happy to have him on. It was a fun show.
Hey, one thing I wanted to show before I forget is Chapin's list. Chapin. So number one, you got to take a drink, but I like his handwriting.
Yeah,
really
it was
good.
really cool.
So yeah, it was good. Getting another podcaster on who is a big Night Ranger fan and just being able to discuss some Night Ranger. And if you're out there listening, make sure you find us on Facebook, Instagram. Definitely find us on Twitter. Twitter is where a lot of these musicians and record labels are putting their information first. Like I see it there first, and it's easy for me to retweet it. So if you want to get the information first, definitely join the Fans of Motion Twitter page. We got the website. Go to the website, fansofmotion.com, and then from there you can find us on Spotify and all the other good stuff. So good episode tonight, guys. Oh, Andy, happy anniversary. 10 years.
10 years with the same person. That's a record for me. Those know me closely. That's a record for me.
Yes, it is.
It makes me question.
A decade.
I know. What is she holding on to?
I think she's waiting for the big Fans in Motion checks to come rolling in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny is she has said to me more than once, and she remains pretty much off the grid. She doesn't like social media. She has zero interest in showing up on an episode. But she says to me a lot, you need to find a way to get paid doing that because you guys talk a lot. And
I hear the same thing.
If I could find a way, trust me, I would much rather be doing this than doing what I do for a living.
We ain't doing this for the money. They've already offered us different, ways to monetize this. And I told them no. I go, we're not like that.
I'll care more when you get some money for it. What makes you think you're going to see the money?
I was like, when you present a deal that cuts Brent and Andy out, then we'll talk. But
well, I thought you could do we'll be like Ace.
Join us next week for our site podcast, Andy.
On the reunion tour where Brent's getting 10,000 more than me. I'm like, wait a minute. Was there painting a tear in my eye?
The
Peter Criss of Fans in Motion. So.
Hey, Kerry, I was just smart. What can I do? What can I say?
Yeah, I know we're best friends and all, but I screwed you over.
So
I recorded New York Groove.
All right, there you are. Join us next week as we probably talk more nonsense. That's probably a 100% chance, and some more Night Ranger, 99% chance. Later.
Bye, Curly.